Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast. Coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Jonathan Voico.
Happy Wednesday.
Chris Carr is here.
The Netflix holiday trailers are dropping.
Oh, my God. It's that time of year. And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics. And in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address, and as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, you can go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's a great thing about the tip link. It's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that means if you're not watching this show live and sending in questions for us to address today, let's say you're listening to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever your favorite podcasting app of choice is, or if you're watching the show a little bit later in the day when we're not actually live, you can still use this tip link to send in a question, and we'll just get around to answering it on the very next episode. All right. With that down, guys, let's get things started with this. This is the greatest news. Listen, Amazon has been doing like good television stuff going all the way back to Transparent, which won like a whole ton of awards and Emmys. And in recent days, we've seen them completely turn things around with Rings of Power. Like Rings of Power season 1 was wah-wah, but season 2 was, I think, really great. The Boys, Godolkin. What's the boy spinoff at Godolkin University?
Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
I can't remember the name of it
We're
either.
live, Chris.
I know. Well, I stopped watching that one.
Oh
that
my
one
God,
didn't do it for me.
Oh, I loved that one. I love that one. So Gen V. Gen V
There
was
we
what it's
go.
called. I remember the name of the university in the show, but I posted the name of the show. Gen V. Then they did Fallout and got all that acclaim, and it got nominated for like best show at the Emmys and stuff like that. They've been really killing it. One of the projects that they've had on the go, though, that's had a lot of people's attention is God of War. A Game of the Year award-winning game and stuff like that. One of the few games that I've actually believed truly has cinematic storytelling in it. Like beautiful storytelling. Always had a lot of potential. Forget potential. This thing has a greatest show of all time possibilities to it now. Why? Because the greatest television showrunner working today has just come on to be the writer, producer, and showrunner of the new Gods of War show, Battlestar Galactica's, and For All Mankind's Ronald D. Moore. That's right. If you guys don't know the name, that's okay. A lot of people don't know showrunners' names. That's everything. Ronald D. Moore made what I consider to be, just me, subjective opinion, what I consider to be the greatest television show of all time. The reboot of Battlestar Galactica, which I still to this day think no other show has touched it. I think that is the greatest show ever made. And right now, there's a show going that guys like Ray and Rob absolutely adore. I only saw the first season, but I loved it. For All Mankind.
Oh, that's awesome.
People
So
love
good.
For All Mankind. And now this guy is coming on to be the writer, producer, and most importantly, the overall showrunner for the new Gods of War. Now, movies and television are a little bit different. In movies, the person in the director's chair is the person who's like not only responsible, but most responsible for the overall quality of a project and the direction it goes and all that kind of stuff. In television, it's different. It's not the directors, it's the showrunner. The showrunner is the person in charge, and they just brought on a guy who I believe today is the greatest showrunner in the business. And I am so excited about this. He clearly has deep roots in fantasy and sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, Deadline wrote the following. I almost said Deadpool wrote the following. Deadline writes, exclusive, with Ronald D. Moore back at Sony Pictures TV Studios fold, the prolific creator / showrunner is taking on a high-profile IP for the studio. He has been tapped as writer, executive producer, and the showrunner of Sony TV and Amazon MGM Studios' Prime Video series God of War, based on PlayStation's hugely popular ancient mythology-themed video game. Moore's involvement with God of War follows the recent exit of the project's original creative team, showrunner, executive producer Rafe Judkins, and executive producer Hawk Otsby, and Mark Fergus, who had been with the show since its inception 2.5 years ago. As Deadline reported, they had completed multiple scripts prior to the changeover, which marks a shift in the creative direction of the series adaptation. All right. First of all, it's never a great thing to hear that a creative team that's been on a project for a long time departs. Let's just call it what it is. That's never a great thing to hear. But clearly, there were differing visions. Maybe it wasn't coming together the way they had hoped or whatever. So a change needs to be made. Okay, that happens. It happens in movies and TV all the time. It happens. But oh my God. What's the result been? Ronald D. Moore is going to be the showrunner of Gods of War. All right. So Gods of War has now in one moment gone from being a show I'm very interested in. And I was very interested in it. I'm seeing the type of quality that MGM's been putting out, or Amazon has been putting out with their original TV stuff. I love the stories in the games, so very interested. But now, this is my most anticipated series of anything coming out. There is not a television series that I am more interested in than this God of War series. Why? Because the best in the business is the guy doing it. You pair Ronald D. Moore with the story archives that you have with this game series, plus just rich mythology he can draw from anything to bring into. Because you remember, he took over Battlestar Galactica, right? Mm-hmm. Battlestar Galactica thematically was always a classic story, although it never had a lot of success. So he drew on the canon of the original series, but he also brought in a lot of other mythology and other things. It's kind of what he's done with For All Mankind. He's taken real things and totally fantasied it up and done a lot of different things with it. But the result is always brilliance. I can now not wait for this show. I'm not going to say right now that I'm more excited for God of War. No, I take it back. I don't think I've ever been more excited for a show.
Whoa.
I was about to say, now it's not the most excited I've ever been for a TV show, but then I paused and I thought about it. No, now I think this is my most excited I've ever been for a show. Ronald D. Moore is going to be showrunner. Guys, this is huge. I don't think people are understanding how big of a deal this is. This is crazy. Now, a lot, Chris, is still going to depend. If you're going to do God of War, I don't know that there's ever been a more difficult and important casting that there's going to be needed to be made than for Kratos. I mean, look, you and your casting leads in TV shows, it's always important, but there's flexibility there, right? You can go for this type or that type or whatever. Casting Kratos isn't going to be easy. No. It is not going to be easy at all. And it could be a make or break for this thing, but I am over the moon about this. I cannot believe how great this news is. Anyway, Chris, you heard about this. What do you think about the fit of a Ronald D. Moore for something like God of War? How, if at all, has this changed your anticipation of the show? And what are you seeing here?
I think he's an excellent fit. My familiarity with Ron's work is going back to Star Trek Next Generation.
That's where he really got to start,
which is
right?
Great. He was a writer on Generations, on the actual film and everything. He is a tremendous sci-fi guru of sorts. He's done so many shows. Heck, he even had a stint on the CW. He did Roswell, which, you know what?
All right.
I enjoyed it.
And you know what? Didn't he also do like Outlander?
Yes, he did.
Which I've never seen, so I don't know anything about Outlander.
A lot of people are really into it.
Okay.
It's not for me.
Good. All right.
Yeah. It's a little grapey. There's a lot of assault on that show and it's not a fun watch, but people really enjoy it. And I think bringing him on for this is great. We did this actually as an off the top on Friday of how there was this big departure with the showrunner previously
right,
and
yeah.
everything, but that they were so happy with everything they'd done, it just wasn't working out, which always feels a little odd and feels like such a PR statement of, oh, no, we're all so happy. We love what they've done. We love what they've written, but we're gutting everything. Well, then you probably don't. So this makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that they are going with such a tremendous name, too. Because, yeah, to your point, this is a very beloved game, and this is a very specific character that you have to get right. Not only just because of what a towering presence Kratos is, but that booming voice. That voice is so
that
key
Christopher
here.
Judge
Oh my
voice.
gosh. It's so good.
Boy.
It's so excellent. So I think this is a really great fit. He's great stuff for all mankind. I'm excited. I'm going to lose my nerd card. I've never seen Battlestar Galactica. I've never seen
Greatest
any
show
of
ever
it.
made.
For all mankind.
I have seen the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I want to keep going because
Yeah,
I
keep
just
going.
started
It's fun,
it. Yeah.
and that's like it. That just scratches the surface. So like in the late 1969.
Yeah.
So this goes all the way to like 20 teens. You know what I mean? So
Sweet.
yeah, it's really
All right.
good.
Now, I'm already
It's no
seeing a lot of people in the live chat say, oh, Dave Bautista is Kratos. Dave Bautista can't be Kratos anymore. Dave Bautista has given up being big and muscular. He has lost like 80 pounds. Like he's now trim and lean in great shape. Great shape. He looks wonderful. But Dave Bautista no longer wants to be the big. If you've seen recent pictures of him, can't be it.
May I submit Justin Long?
Justin Long. But listen, I'm going to throw out a couple of
King
names.
A job. We love him.
I'm going to throw out a couple names. One is, I'm a fanboy. I admit it. Henry Cavill.
Fanboy. Cavill.
Look, Henry Cavill's got the beef, man. I mean, and he's like a tremendous actor. So there's a Henry Cavill. A lot of people, and I would have said too at one point or another, Triple H. Like Triple H basically is Kratos.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at him and all that kind of stuff,
Aesthetically,
like,
sure, yeah.
but
Does he carry?
they've tried to make Triple H is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, by the way. They've tried to make Paul an actor a couple of times. They've given him a couple of movies to do, and the results have not been tasty. They've not been good. They're the things you send back to the chef. You know, it hasn't worked out so well, so you can't really. Obviously, Paul Walter Hauser is a big choice for a lot of things. Paul Richan. But here's the thing. The problem with getting...
Wait, Paul Walter Hauser is...
As Kratos, yeah, absolutely. He can do everything. He's a tremendous actor, Chris. Tremendous actor.
Sorry, I had to do a boo.
But
What?
Alan Ritchson, here's the problem. Like a lot... Alan Ritchson's got the physique.
Yes.
I don't see him acting-wise as a fit. Not that he's
What
not
about-
a good actor. I'm just saying I don't see that as a match.
Oh,
That's
no,
all.
never mind.
What were you going to say?
I can't think of the actor's name from Shogun. But he's gonna be busy.
Cosmo?
Cosmo Jarvis.
But he's gonna be busy with season 2 anyway.
Well,
Shogun.
Cosmo's got the voice.
Yeah.
I mean, he could do the voice. I don't know if he's physically big enough.
You'd have to bulk.
But-
Put him
Yeah,
on
you
that
can
Hugh
bulk him up.
Jackman jacked man
You'd have to
diet.
bulk.
Eat 7 rotisserie chickens a day. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
18
you got
months of bulking,
probably
you can do it.
a year before
Yeah.
shooting. Anyway, so that's going to be key. But all I know is this: regardless of whoever they cast, this show, I'm just going to say right now, I haven't seen an episode. I'm going to tell you right now, this show is going to be awesome because the best showrunner in the business just came on to do it, and I cannot wait. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I'll tell you what you should think about this. This is the greatest thing ever. Ronald D. Moore is going to be doing God of War. Come on. Anyway, whatever your thoughts are, as long as they line up with that, jump down into the comment section below.
And if they don't, you stay out of
Yeah.
that comment section.
Yeah.
You get right out.
You go stand in the corner and think about what
Yeah.
you did. Leave your comments down in the section below. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, it's been announced that Christopher Nolan's got a new movie coming out, and it's coming out in 2026. It's coming really soon. And we found out that Matt Damon was going to be in it. And then the other day, I think it was on yesterday's show, we talked about the fact that Tom Holland is joining it. And I'm very excited for Tom to do this because he's a very gifted, talented actor who's been in a lot of crappy stuff outside of Spider-Man. He needs something that's going to be great. Team up with Christopher Nolan, get yourself on a big, high-profile, quality project. I think this is going to be really exciting for him. But part of that story was they're keeping it all under wraps. We don't yet know what it's about. All we do know is that it's not going to be present day. But the report said we don't know if that means it's going to be in the future or if it's going to be in the past. Well, there's now a report coming out from a guy I trust saying that they know what this Christopher Nolan movie is going to be about with Tom Holland and Matt Damon. Folks over at Gizmodo wrote this. And the Hollywood Reporter story about Holland's casting writes that the setting is not present day, although it's unclear whether it's set in the past and the future. Well, we heard two of those could potentially be true. IO9, and specifically their correspondent, Germain Lucier, who is terrific at his job, from a reliable source that Nolan's film is a vampire movie set in the 1920s. A vampire movie set in the 1920s. What's interesting, this Gizmodo article is going to write this. We know what you're thinking. Isn't Ryan Coogler already making a movie? That sounds a lot like that.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. It's called Sinners and it's out in March, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for two visionary filmmakers to tackle the same topic. I agree. So let's put that one aside for a second. I have been saying for a while that I would like to see Christopher Nolan expand his boundaries a bit and stuff like that. I want to see something maybe we haven't seen from him before. A vampire movie from Christopher Nolan? I'm listening. That sign me up. That sounds great. A vampire movie with Matt Damon, Tom Holland. Okay. Maybe it's a Morbius movie. What? No, it's not Morbius. But I mean, this is exciting to me. I think this sounds really cool because what I didn't want to see, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to see another Inception. I'm not trash talking Inception. I'm just saying I didn't want to see another Inception. I didn't want to see another, retelling of a true historical piece like he did with Dunkirk and he just did with Oppenheimer. Something a little bit different. Now, what I would really love to see Christopher Nolan do is something that he's truly never done. I'd love to see, I'm not even joking. I would love to see Christopher Nolan do a rom-com. I'd love to see him do like something that's like completely out of left field for him, but
Just unnecessarily shot in IMAX.
yeah, shot in, and he does this big documentary about all the things I did. I bring it anyway. I love this idea. I think it sounds like it could be really cool. I personally believe the report because again, Germain Lucier is not a guy who just runs around just saying things unless he knows that he knows. So I'm going to take it as a real deal sort of thing. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this. The report says that this new Christopher Nolan movie with Tom Holland is going to be a vampire movie set in the 1920s. What do you think?
I'm real frustrated that all these filmmakers I like are making me see scary movies. I'm real bummed out about that, of having to just suck it up and put my big girl pants on. I love that right now, too, we also have this kind of dueling movies developmental hell phenomena going on, right? Kind of like when we'd have The Bug's Life and Ants, or, Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached.
And Volcano and Dante's Peak.
Yes. And now we're having that with vampires, which is very fun. I love the idea of Nolan doing something outside of his typical kind of sandbox. I think that's really great. I love the idea of Tom Holland thrown into this universe and Matt Damon thrown into this kind of universe.
Yeah.
Because we don't see these kinds of roles for them very often. So that's really exciting as well. I kind of hope Tom Holland is a little baddie in it.
I do too.
I hope he's a messed up vampire who just wrecks shop. I want him to full Mortal Kombat. I want him to rip out spines. Let's do it.
Because you know what? If you're going to say...
This one, they make me see scary movies. I want it to be off.
Rip out
But
spines.
if it's really ridiculously like Sin City violence,
Yeah.
that I can deal with stylized stuff where it's Quentin Tarantino blood,
Sure.
right? When it's too realistic, then I get scared.
Now, if you're going to get like the classic molds of characters in this, like one is going to be the immortal vampire, one is going to be the mortal who's trying to resist them or hunt them down. I would much rather see Tom Holland as the 500-year vampire who's got to be stopped, like this evil, and Matt Damon is the one out trying to stop him rather than maybe some rover. I don't know, or maybe they're both heroes. Maybe, listen, we haven't heard the end of the casting,
No.
right?
Right.
Christopher Nolan films, if nothing, end up having long lists of impressive looking
Chances
cast
Cillian
people.
Murphy's a vampire in this?
Oh, I'll give you
In
odds.
this
I'll say
or
70%. Whether or not he's a vampire,
He's a
I'll lay
sweetheart.
70% that Murphy will be in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say 70%, but I'm saying in the
It's
movie.
likely.
So,
Ooh,
like, good guy,
GGL.
and who knows? Maybe he does a little twist. Maybe in this one, the vampire's the good guy. Trying to stop an evil. I don't know. Matt Damon is an immortal Van Helsing who's actually bad
He's just a
and
real
evil.
shitbag.
Just a real piece of dick.
Yeah.
And
He's
Tom
just his
Holland.
character from Interstellar. Yeah.
So let me ask you, Chris, if you had to pick either the Matt Damon, you want to see Matt Damon as a vampire or Tom Holland as a vampire, who do you want to see?
I want Tom Holland to be a vampire. I want Tom Holland to, because I know it's not the same, but I've seen Matt Damon be a shitty angel.
Well, you
in
know he's got
Dogma.
he's got a
know?
dark side. We've seen
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I want to see Tom Holland be.
By the way,
a
shout out
piece
to
of
Dogma. That movie's so good.
shit. Oh, that movie's excellent.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? According to a report coming out of IO9, the new Christopher Nolan film is going to be a vampire film set in the 1920s. I think this sounds great for Christopher Nolan. I couldn't be happier for Tom Holland. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? So Gladiator 2 is coming out. First reactions came out the other day, and they are like sky high good. Sky high good. Including from a lot of people who, like me, are kind of skeptical about the film. They came out of it saying, yeah, this is... I mean, none of them said it's as good or better than the original. No one's gone crazy. But they said it's remarkably incredible, very gory, very violent, but that it's excellent, fantastic, all that kind of stuff. Wonderful. Well, we also now know we are living in the age of the specialized popcorn bucket,
That's right.
right? Best of which is still the Deadpool one, I think. But there have been several very creative ones. Alien had a really cool
I
one.
mean, it all started with Dune, right?
Oh, and of course, yeah, the Dune one, the
Yeah.
Fleshlight popcorn bucket. So that's kind of become a part of the, you know what? I don't even mind it because they've become a part of the movie going experience. They don't make the movies any better, but the movie going can add to it, can be fun. Well, Gladiator is taking it up a notch because they are now they have just released their popcorn bucket, which straight up, just looking at it, that's a great idea for the Colosseum as a popcorn bucket. That's great, but wait, there's more. Because it's not just a popcorn bucket. They are integrating AR, augmented reality.
Yeah, that popcorn's not really there.
So apparently, if once you get through it and you eat your popcorn and scan a thing on your phone and hold it up, you will see crowds in the auditorium. You will see gladiators fighting in the auditorium. There'll even be lighting in the auditorium. They're taking it kind of one step further and making this thing interactive.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'll be honest with you. If I buy this popcorn bucket, I will probably take it home. I will hold up my phone. I'll do the little interactive thing with it and see the crowd in it and the little gladiators fighting. And then I will probably never touch it again. Fair enough. But just the idea of adding, because really, I don't think all it adds to the actual physical popcorn bucket is having the QR code on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Your phone does all the rest of the work. So it's not like there's technology built into the bucket itself, unless there are actually lights in it, which I don't think there are.
No.
But so to me, just as a popcorn bucket, it's the Coliseum is a popcorn bucket.
It looks
It's
like
perfect.
it holds the most popcorn of all the ones we've
And
seen,
it actually
too.
looks like it holds popcorn. That's the other thing. And then they've added a little thing to it that when you get to the bottom of it, scan the QR code and you get a little show out of it. Listen,
That's a
as
lot
long
of
as this
popcorn
thing doesn't-
buckets.
What's that?
That's a lot of popcorn
That's
buckets.
so much. As long as this thing doesn't cost $60,
Right.
right? Like, but I mean, if this thing's $30, I'd pay $30 for this and check it out. I think this is a pretty cool looking one. I don't know, Chris, what do you think of it?
Well, first of all, it's really brave to make a popcorn bucket that solely isn't made to have sex with. So I'm really impressed with them. 'Cause
That's just because you lack imagination, Chris.
that's a real hot dog in a Coliseum situation, John. All right. No one's having a fun time with that. Just saying. But the AR is neat. This does not move the needle for me in any way, shape, or form. As you all know, I notoriously and unpopularly do not like popcorn, so I never get these. But I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. If you think having that little Coliseum battle in the bottom of your bucket is dope, hell yeah. It's a really fun thing to add in there.
It's cool to put on your desk or something.
Yeah. If you're super into Gladiator, I totally get this. Yeah. Kids will have fun with that, scanning the stuff and going, oh, look at him fight. That's neat.
Well, it tells me, though, beyond Gladiator, like, more companies are going to do this, or what other innovations will they do that's not this? Just keep it going. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at least they're keeping it interesting, because it could have easily,
as long as it sells.
No, it could have easily just been the Coliseum, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know.
But again, even just as the popcorn, the physical popcorn bucket itself, it's a pretty cool looking popcorn bucket. I got to give it its due. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about it? I think it's a pretty damn good popcorn bucket. What do you think is a good price point for it? You know what they should do? Make it really worth it. Tell me I get, like, if I get it in the month of November, I get free refills for the month of November in it.
Ooh.
You know, if you do something like that.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Pay more.
You buy a tiki cup, you get discounts on your drinks.
Really? Mm-hmm. See, I don't drink that stuff anyway.
At Universal, if you go down to the Jurassic Park stuff,
that's cool.
You get a little tiki cup, get a discount.
Question is for you guys. What do you think? Number one, what do you think about the bucket itself? Number two, what do you think about them incorporating some AR into it? Number three, what do you think would be an acceptable price point? We all know it's not going to be $20, but what would you consider to be an acceptable price point for something like that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still have a couple things we got to talk about, including Venom 3. Does it have post-credit scenes? If so, how many? And are they important? We're going to go into those details in just a bit. And also, it apparently is now locked. Tom Holland says Spider-Man 4 is ready to go, and they've got a production start date and everything. We're going to talk about those things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into this, shall we? Venom 3 opens. I'm going to see it in like 48 hours.
Woo.
Very excited for it. I love the Venom movies. Not everybody does. I do. And the first reactions for Venom 3 have come out, and they've been great because even the people that came out saying, the movie's okay, they were at least saying it is the best of the trilogy, though. So there were people coming out saying, we love this movie and it's the best of the trilogy. And there were a few people came out and said, but it is the best of the trilogy. As somebody who loves this movie so far, that's music to my ears. So I'm excited about it. Now, one of the other things that we found out about Venom 3 from the director of the film is that we all know that the villain Null is going to be in the film. The director made it clear, we talked about this the other day on the show, that This movie, even though it's Tom Hardy's final Venom film, this movie, she said, the director, it's just the beginning for Null. That this movie just kind of sets up Null. So Null is going to be a character that goes on. Where? We don't know. But somehow, some way, the character is going to go on. Now, going into any comic book movie, as with all that information as the groundwork, going into any comic book movie, and almost any sci-fi movie today too, one of the questions that all the audience always has is, are there credit scenes? Are there mid or post-credit scenes? By the way, I just call them all post-credit scenes, even the ones that happen halfway through. I'm so tired of people saying, well, John, see, that wasn't the post-credit scene. You know what? Was it a scene that happened after the beginning of the credits? Yes, then I call it a post-credit scene.
Hold my bladder scenes.
Semantics, whatever. But are there post-credit scenes? The answer to that question, we can tell you, is definitively yes. And how many? There are 2. So when you go in to see Venom 3, there are going to be 2 post-credit scenes. One at the midway point, and then one at the very end. Now, for those of you, as Jonathan has just so accurately pointed out, that are going to be, by the end of a movie, you're crossing your legs and grabbing your groin going, I've got to pee. Are they necessary to stick around in? Now, I can't answer that question myself because I've not seen the movie yet, but our friends over at Slash Film give this little bit of information. The other takes place, or one takes place, I should say, either at the end, where'd it go?
Oh, yeah, mid-credits.
There we go. They both, they said, both of the post-credit scenes, do you need to stick around for them? Well, they both have varying degrees of importance, but the first one, the mid-credit one, could easily be labeled as essential for viewers who are invested in these characters beyond this film. The second one is more of a fun, weird, extra something that might be worth sticking around for. So I think a lot about the one Thor movie where the end credit scene was just Jeff Goldblum getting out of the records. Oh, we won, everybody. It wasn't important. It was just fun. But here, the way they describe the first post-credit scene is interesting. It could easily be labeled as essential for viewers who are invested in these characters, plural, beyond this film. All right. So obviously it must be major. I'm going to go out on a limb here that one of the characters that they're saying it's essential for being invested in this character moving forward has got to be Null, right? Because the director's already made a big deal about how this movie is just the beginning for Null. This is just really setting the stage for Null. So one of them's got to be Null. But I'm really interested in the way Slash Film worded this. Those who are invested in these characters. Who's the other character? I do not know at this point. Anyway, Chris, it sounds to me like the only one you got to stick around for is the mid-credit one.
Yeah.
I will probably stick around till the end, even if it's just a fun little tag. What are you taking away from this? Does it surprise you that they're doing multiple end credit scenes, considering this is Tom Hardy's last one? And who do you think these characters could be?
Ooh, I'm not surprised by doing the multiples, just because that's pretty much the norm now, is to have the mid one and then the one following everything else. And I'm just really excited about internet speculation of these characters. Sinister Six confirmed, or Spider-Man is moving all of his characters over to Marvel, something like that. I do think that because we have all the stuff of this is the setup of Null, blah, 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 we can anticipate seeing more of this character in those post-credit scenes. And I not quite sure who else would come over here. We've talked about this a little bit before. It's kind of hard to speculate just because of the legality around Spider-Man and his friends and all of his adversaries.
Yeah.
Of who belongs to who and who is going to kind of get loaned out to another company. I would love to see a whole bunch of our Spider people fully go over to Marvel and Secret Wars and do that. That'd be really fun, and that would make sense for Null. But again, it's hard to kind of see what else they're doing. I'm just hoping we don't have a, hey, our post-credit scene has Madam Web and Morbius all teaming up to go hang out with Null.
Is there any the
want.
one thing that I think protects us as audiences from that is I don't believe there's any amount of money that Sony could give Dakota Johnson to reprise the Madam Web role. No. Nor do I think there's any amount of money they could give Jared Leto to reprise Morbius after the beating and shellacking that those movies respectively took. But that brings up the question again, and I know it's a little off topic, forgive me, but while I like the idea that Null is not being treated as what they call a one and done villain,
which is so annoying.
Yeah.
I've hated that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally glad they're not treating Null as a one and done. The question is, but okay, good, but what are you gonna do with him? Literally, the only thing left now that Tom Hardy is leaving, the only thing left, and we know they're not going to do more Madam Web, and we know they're not going to do more Morbius. The only thing that's literally left is Kraven. Now, maybe they do Black Cat, Silver Sable. Maybe if they get that silver and black thing going again. I don't really see those two as being... I don't see Kraven, Black Cat, Silver Sable as being able to stand up to Null. Do they try to bring Silk into it? Remember they were going to have the TV series?
That could be cool.
I mean, see, that's the question. Okay, great. Null is just being set up, but set up for what? There are some people who speculate they're going to cross him over into the MCU.
Yeah.
I still think it's possible. I think it's a pipe dream, but I suppose it's possible.
All right. I know I bring this up all the time because I deeply, deeply love him, especially after the chicken shop date. But Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in No Way Home talks about how he hasn't gone to fight an alien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if he gets to fight a primordial deity? What if they finally brought him back and he gets his moment in the sun against a real creepy mother effer?
But where does that happen?
I don't know, but I want it.
Because here's the problem, because I don't think Disney will allow Sony, under the terms of their agreement, to have a live-action Spider-Man movie going while they're having live-action Spider-Man and Marvel. Sure. And I don't know that Sony lets them just take Null over into the MCU, especially if he's the big baddie they're setting up. Mm-hmm. So I love the idea. I'm just wondering how.
The execution is
how do you do it? How do you pull it off?
Yeah. I don't even know if it's going to be Null, honestly. I honestly, the comments from... Was it the director or the writer?
The director.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt very, well, we hope this is the thing. They did it with this and this is what we want. And I think we're reading so much into that this is going to be more the characters invested are Venom and Tom Hardy. You know, I honestly think there's a chance there is no Null.
Okay. We just see like the symbiote doing some shit or something. Okay.
One of our live viewers, Cupcake Bliss, saying Toby hasn't fought an alien also. Yeah, Toby fought Venom.
Fought Venom.
Toby fought Venom.
Granted, it was hard to decipher because there was a lot of Topher Grace face there.
Yeah.
I know a lot of you want to forget it, and you've made it canon that movie doesn't exist, but it does. I am guilty of this too with so many properties. I feel your pain.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about all of this? I mean, we're going to get these post-credit scenes with characters and their future. Other than Null, what other ones are we looking at? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? A movie that we all know at some point is going to get made, but they've had some kind of trouble getting traction and getting it going is a fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man film. But we know it's been coming. The producers said, we're working on it. Tom Holland, when asked, says, we're working on it. It's just not there yet. We're working on it. All that kind of stuff. Well, now we have finally got our first piece of what I would call definitive confirmation that the movie is now a go. Because the star of the movie has just said, everything is good to go. The headline in Variety, Tom Holland says Spider-Man 4 starts shooting next summer. And everything's good to go. I can't wait. This is what it actually says in Variety. During an appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon on Tuesday night, Holland confirmed that his fourth Spider-Man movie is happening and even has a production start date. Next summer, he said, we start shooting. Everything's good to go. We're nearly there. Holland said, super exciting. I can't wait. All right. This is by far the most definitive thing that says we've cracked it. We've cracked it. So, because everything up until now has been, well, first of all, Tom Holland played coy. Remember this about a year ago? Well, maybe my time as Spider-Man is done, and maybe it's time for somebody else to come and play him. And like all of us were saying, we were all saying, Chris, we were all like, nice kid, but we know you're not. You're lying, and we know you're going to be back. So all that kind of stuff. And then stories about how they had a couple of scripts, they weren't quite what they were looking for or wanted, and they'd been working on it. It's like, when is this going to happen? And can we get one before the Avengers films? Or are we talking about things that happen after Avengers? All this kind of stuff. This is the first time that we have definitively got from an authoritative person, the star of the film, saying, we got it. We're good to go. And that we've now gotten to the point that we now have set a beginning of production. Now, the one thing I'm a little unclear of, Chris, is the semantics of this. When he says next summer we start shooting, that can mean one of two things. Because we are now in October. Summer is coming. When he says next summer, does he mean, because like tomorrow is, what day is it today? Today's
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, so tomorrow's Thursday and the day after that's Friday, right? So if I said to you, hey, let's have lunch next Friday.
I would be like, well, not this one.
Right,
Yeah.
right? So when he says next summer, does he mean summer? Because we are in the year 2024.
I think he means 25.
See, that's my first thought too. My first thought is the summer of 2025.
Yeah.
But that is that's this coming summer.
If he said this in January, then I'd be like 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the year of our Lord 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though
2025 situation.
the immediate summer in front of us is summer 2025.
Yeah.
You guys interpret him the same way I am. That when he says
what I
next
think.
summer, he's talking this upcoming summer, the summer 2025.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
holding him to it. So
Okay, so like that's how I'm
now.
interpreting it as well. I'm just bringing up that there is the possibility he may be referring to the summer of 2026 because that would be the next summer. Anyway,
that's,
whatever.
I think that's release of.
Maybe. Either way,
Spider-Man
he's
4.
lapping Blade.
Yeah.
So
Completely, multiple times.
On your left.
Laughing, but you know it's funny too because a friend of mine texted me last night, and with the so he said, well, he's shooting this movie with Christopher Nolan that's coming out in 2026. When is he supposed to shoot Spider-Man? Again, I think what we as movie fans have to keep in mind is that actors do not work on a movie for a year. There are hundreds of other people that work on a movie for 2 years and then get it all the way up to a point where then the actors come in. And what would you say is obviously some are longer, some are shorter. Would it be fair for me to say, Chris, that probably on average, a top 5 of the line actor will probably spend 2 to 3 months on a movie?
yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, probably 2 to 3 months, which means Tom Holland could literally shoot 4 full-length feature, top-of-the-line films next year. I mean, there's plenty of time.
Sure.
As long as they arrange it right, there's plenty of time for him to shoot multiple movies.
Yeah, by the time you take in the fact that he's not the only character in the film, he's not in every scene, and then most of the scenes are going to be CGI with him flying through the sky, the cityscape.
Yeah.
Sure, that's probably him like in the suit if he's grounded.
Yeah.
But
A lot of it's going to be computers. People also forget a lot of times too, a lot of times scheduling conflicts are what you make of them. Laura Linney did Mystic River and Love Actually at the same time,
Right.
flying back and forth between the UK and the US. If you want to make something work, typically there are ways to do it. Of course, there are certain situations where you do have a very rigorous schedule or you're number one on the call sheet and you wouldn't be able to do both things at the same time. But if he wanted to do all of this, he absolutely could.
some
Wouldn't be a big deal.
serious tone shifts.
See,
500 days in that.
Right?
I'm not going to say who, but I have a filmmaker friend of mine that worked on a movie with let's say a significant star. And it wasn't the biggest movie in the world, so they had a whatever budget, and this particular star said, I can do it, but you've got me for 3 weeks. but they really wanted this person in their movie. So what they simply did is they sat down with, by the way, MVP of any movie shoot is the line producer. So they sat down with the line producer who helps work out like everything they need and all the scheduling and all that kind of stuff. And they just simply made it and worked it so that every single moment that this particular actor was going to be on screen was filmed in 3 weeks, and they put everything else off. Then they shot the entire rest of the movie later. So this actor came in 3 weeks out the door, and they shot everything. So there's things you can do. There's ways you can make it work. So now the big thing to me now is this is going to be shooting around the same time that the next Avengers movie is going to be shooting.
Ooh, that's true.
Right? So then I'm wondering, does this movie they're shooting, does this Spider-Man 4 movie they're shooting, does this come out prior to Avengers Doomsday? Is it come out in between Doomsday and Secret Wars? I mean, obviously it's going to come out before Secret Wars for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But does it come out before or after Doomsday?
Man, it would only help it if it came between the two
Yeah.
because you've got that push from Avenger, huge tempo of Spider-Man, and then Avengers again.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah. I feel like that's the setup.
I'm gonna throw out a
Los
guess.
sandwich.
I'm gonna throw out a guess that it's gonna come out before Doomsday.
Could
Oh.
only because Robert Downey Jr. is my only hang up.
Well, also it'll be interesting because we don't know where the movie's going to, where Doomsday is going to end, and what state does that leave the world of the MCU in? 'Cause
Right.
remember, at the end of Infinity War, the state of that world was changed. Half the population had disappeared. We're in a completely different kind of world. My guess is, and it's just a guess, that we're going to have something kind of similar. That the events of Doomsday, and again, I'm just speculating here, pure guessing, okay, just throwing it out there. But I'm starting to wonder if at the end of Doomsday, we're going to be in a similar situation where the world has been changed. Not half the population's gone again, but something significant that it's a different world now. And do they want to make that Spider-Man movie in that world? Or do they want to have...
Pre that event.
Yeah, do they want to have a more normal Spider-Man movie happen that then leads into Doomsday? So that's why I'm going to guess it's going to take place. The movie's going to come out before Doomsday. Again, I don't know that. I'm just guessing. I can change my mind tomorrow. When do you think this movie comes out?
I like the idea of it in between everything, to your point, Jonathan, of kind of having that nice little tent pole in between everything. And I feel like these things can, in the timeline, simultaneously be happening, right? We can have a throw to of like, oh my gosh, and there's Victor Von Doom doing his thing.
Or it
whatever.
could be a Ant-Man and the Wasp situation where it was between, and it was actually a prequel, but the end credit was catching up to the snap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
now
that
I
kind of thing.
thought I heard, what's his name, Desposito, one of the executives over there, Marvel. I believe I remember hearing once saying they're going to try to keep their movies as lined up as possible.
So linear.
Without jumping around at different times to kind of keep it normal. That doesn't mean they're going to stick to it. I mean, they're going to do what they do. But anyway, guys, here we are. This is the first time we've gotten truly solid, concrete that Spider-Man 4 is ready to go. Now, they said they're still going to tinker with it, sure, because they've got like 6 months between now and when they start shooting. But they said essentially they've cracked the code. They've got it. They're good to go. And they're going to start shooting this movie next summer. What do you think about that? Where do you think this movie's going to fit into all this kind of stuff? And where's your anticipation level now? And what kind of Spider-Man 4 do you think we're going to get? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with all that down, it's time for us to go in and start taking your live comments and questions. But just before we do, we're going to take another quick moment and thank another sponsor who make our show possible for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at the Dollar Shave Club. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Dollar Shave Club. Hello there, my fellow handsome gentlemen. Nice face you shaved there. Whether you're going smooth shaven or maintaining a beard, Dollar Shave Club offers shave and grooming products that are always high quality, but never overpriced. If you like to wet shave for that clean, close shave, they've got the Club Series 6 Blade Razor. A shave so comfy your skin will take a nap. 6 stainless steel blades for our closest and most comfortable shave, with a vitamin E infused lubricant strip for comfort and glide and precision trimmer for precise detailing. Their amazing Shave Butter Clear View Smooth Glide, designed for precision. Shave Butter is a translucent shaving cream alternative that allows you to see exactly where you're shaving. Bonus, it has long-lasting lubrication that helps soften whiskers for maximum glide and leaves your skin feeling hydrated. But don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself. You can visit their site right now for 20% off $20 or more and get your products delivered right to your door. Visit dollarshaveclub.com/Campea and use promo code Campea for 20% off $20 or more. And remember, however you shave, Dollar Shave Club is here to help you stay handsome. And thank you to our friends at Dollar Shave Club for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to the important stuff here, shall we? Your thoughts, theories, opinions, and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
Gavin M says, got my tickets for Venom 3 for Thursday.
Nice.
Enjoyed the first one quite a bit. Hated the second one. I think it's worse than Morbius. Hoping for a better theater experience because during Carnage, I thought my eardrums were going to burst when Shriek did her shrieking. I saw it at an AMC with the Dolby Surround. Ever had an experience like that? I almost walked out just to save my ears. But the movie was bad as well. I haven't seen Madam Web and probably won't. Do
yourself a favor and watch Madam Web. Just so you can say you have.
And that way you can be like, Carnage was a masterpiece.
Yeah. Hey, listen, movies are subjective. They don't always work for everybody. I gotta say, I still enjoyed Carnage. I did. I still had a good time with it. Super violent, like really, really violent film.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised they were able to fit that under the R rating. But even I don't think it was as good as the first one. Anyway, I have had, fortunately, only a couple, but I've definitely had a couple of theatrical experiences where I straight up just thought the volume was too loud. Not often, like I said, probably just a couple of times, but I have definitely been in movie theaters where it's like, this is a little uncomfortable to listen to. Have you ever had that experience?
Yeah, a couple. I really like his movies, but a couple Nolan films I've been like, oh, that balance is not there, buddy.
Right. It's not that the dialogue is too low. It's that everything else is so loud.
Exactly, yeah.
I remember before Maverick, which was fine, but the trailers they ran before Maverick were like, why is this so loud? Yeah, it was crazy.
All right. What's next?
Ian says, just think somewhere in the Only Murders in the Building universe, there's a version of you doing the show where the constant delays of Only Murders movie is getting delayed.
First of all, the finale's coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, the season finale.
Almost. There's 2 more episodes.
Is it 2?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. There is 2. I still can't believe how good of a show this is. Look, I was obviously initially very interested because Steve Martin and Martin Short. I mean, these two, listen, if you ever get a chance just to see them doing podcasts or interviews, whatever, together, they're hilarious.
The documentary on Hulu about Steve Martin is so good.
Oh,
and they're so charming together.
Yeah, in 3 parts, how they do it. Yeah.
And I honestly might think that besides Nikki Glaser, Martin Short might be the best roaster out there right now. He doesn't do them at roasts, but he'll walk into interviews
constantly.
Yeah.
He's so funny. So I was obviously intrigued, but I thought this is going to be a show that comes and goes in 1 or 2 seasons. Can't believe how good it is. And like a testament to how good the show is, everyone in Hollywood is knocking on their door saying, can I be in your next season? Like everybody in Hollywood is asking to be in the following season all the time. And it's really a great show. All right, what's next?
Tim Flanders. I'm shocked you still haven't watched Wild Robot. It's one of the best movies in the last 5 years. And needs to be seen on the biggest screen possible. Trust me, make it a priority. The big screen, I agree with. I loved it, but everyone's saying it's the best ever. It's like, okay, that's up to you, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's the subjectivity of film, right? There are going to be people who watch it and think it's the best thing ever. Again, it's just one of those, every once in a while, a movie's coming out where, like Anne is, we have to see this one together. Like, okay. But then things start to happen where it's not possible. And so I have still not seen this movie. I've been dying to see ever since I saw the first trailer at CinemaCon. And I still haven't had a chance to see it. I mean, Anne taking a week some odd trip to Paris didn't help. And then other things that have been going on. And like with us doing the other YouTube channel now as well. And just for those of you who don't know, I know a lot of you do, but like my wife, Anne, Number 1 is the vice president of a big international marketing company. Number 2, she teaches university classes. And number 3, she is herself studying right now. She's completing her doctorate at the moment. She's a busy girl. And she's got a 220-pound baby to take care of. Me. So she's a busy girl. And then when we do have opportunities, it's like, oh, but we have to do this other thing instead. And so it's just been one of those movies that I just haven't had a chance to see. And I've been dying to see it. Anyway. All right. What's next?
Late to the party says, hey, crew, the Penguin is incredibly dark. Do you think it informs the Batman sequel to be even darker than the original? P.S. To me, Sophia seems quite Joker-esque, and unfortunately, I like it. Thoughts?
Well, one of the things that we do know, although it's a little interpretive, but they've said that the conclusion of Penguin will lead us directly into Batman 2. So I think we're going to see a similar tone. Like, I would say this. I think The Batman was probably a little darker than Penguin is. Some people might think the opposite. That's fine. But overall, they just fit very well together. This feels like a truly cohesive universe they live in. So we do know it leads in, but that can mean a lot of things, Chris, when they say, oh, this will lead right into that. Well, wait a minute. Does that mean a story point at the end of the Penguin becomes the story point of the next Batman? Or is it just, yeah, when Batman 2 starts, Oz is where he was at the end, but it's not about Oz. I mean, I don't know. Like, how do you think they mean by that?
It feels like Oz will be fully fleshed out from where his journey is, and then we pick up where we need to in Gotham. I don't anticipate there being a huge linchpin moment that then carries over into the next Batman film, mostly because we've seen that criticism of, well, I shouldn't have to watch all these movies and all these shows to understand what's going to happen in the next thing. I'm a casual viewer, damn it. So I don't think it's going to be a huge plot point, but I think it's just going to inform things. So if you are a viewer, you get that kind of nice Easter egg thing of, oh, I know what's going on with that guy. I know where he's been. I know what he's been up to.
All right. What's next?
Ian McAllister says, confirmed. God of War with Amazon has new showrunner, and it's a good one. Ronald D. Moore from All Mankind, your favorite Battlestar Galactica. What are your thoughts?
Well, we did 10 minutes of my thoughts a little bit earlier, but just to reiterate for people who joined us a little bit later, the greatest news in the history of television has just happened. God of War just got the greatest showrunner there is in working in television today, Ronald D. Moore, who did the greatest show of all time, Battlestar Galactica, the current thing that everybody seems to love for All Mankind. He is the best. And now he's doing God of War. There has never been better news in the history of television. This is it. This is it. Nothing's been better. This is the height of human civilization, everybody. You might as well just pack it in after this, because this is the greatest thing ever. All right, what's next?
Brian O'Connor says, hey, crew, which sitcom has the best alumni of guest actors? For me, it's The Office with Amy Adams, Will Ferrell, Idris Elba, and Kathy Bates were my personal favorites.
I have no idea, because I would literally have to sit down and scroll through a long list about, well, okay, there was this sitcom. Who were the guest actors? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, Joey Pedros, and that should actually have informed me, because I've been binging it. Scrubs had a great.
So many good guest
Ryan
stars.
Reynolds did guest
He
spots
did an episode.
on that, right?
They were supposed to be college roommates at one point.
Yeah, so I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, absolutely, especially in the later seasons. I mean, Amy Adams was the season 1 or season 2, where she came in as Jim's other love interest.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you got to the later seasons, Kathy Bates,
Yeah.
James
Spader.
Will Ferrell. I mean, the list, it was really, really impressive, but I would have to sit down and go over stuff. I don't know off the top of my head.
Animated, I don't know if you guys ever watched on Cartoon Network, or can't remember, is Dr. Katz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was just a rotating thing of stand-up comedians all the time. It was
absolutely,
great.
yeah.
Well, then Simpsons, the people who've done that. Animated is different, because all those people have to
you
show
just
up
do
for an hour in
voiceover.
a sound booth. But anyway, all right, what's next?
Tron says, whether you like the Venom films or not, one thing I think we can all agree on is that their budgets are responsible. Budget for one was 100 mil, 110 for number 2, and 120 for number 3. Wow, only up by 10 each time.
Nice.
Take notes, MCU and DC. Not every CB film needs to cost $200 to $250.
Listen, I'll say, as somebody who complains often, because you guys know I do, as somebody who complains often about how much they spend on a lot of these movies, some of them do require it. Like some of the big I don't mind the budget of a film if I walk out of it and go, I saw it all on screen.
Yeah. Like those Avengers films you typically see.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like I saw every penny on screen and I can live with that. But a lot of them don't need that.
Yeah.
But you're right. One of the things they've done well over there with when it comes to their superhero movies at Sony, they've kept the budgets reasonable. And here's the thing, by making Venom 3 for like 120, they've guaranteed it's going to be profitable. At 120 with say a $60 million ad campaign, let's even say an $80 million ad campaign, they need to make $300 million to break even. That's not bad. So they pretty much guarantee that their movie's going to make money. So yeah, I do think there are lessons there for Marvel and DC to learn for sure. All right, what's next?
A friend is hosting an A24 themed Halloween party. I'm going as Willem Dafoe from The Lighthouse.
It's got to be black and white.
Oh man, this be your Halloween party once I was invited to. Just watched the movie for the first time last night. Pretty weird movie. Yeah, didn't know what was going on, but I liked it. What did y'all think of the movie?
I still don't know what that movie was.
You need to speak like him the entire time you're there.
That movie just scrambled my brain.
Like at some point he fucks a fish and I'm like, now I'm really lost.
Yeah.
What's he pulling out of his belt? What's happening? Like, I get it. I understand that the whole thing was the allegory for, I'm freezing on what it was, the whole allegory. But anyway, I watched the movie and I came out of it. I'm like, that was such a well-made movie. So artistic. Robert Eggers, the guy who's directing the upcoming Nosferatu film. And I love his other films. The Northman, awesome. Witch, awesome. But I came out of it going, that is such a well-made, visually interesting movie. But I have no idea what the fuck I just watched. I had no idea. To this day, I still don't even know what I really just watched.
You watch it and you're like, these are geniuses' performances, and these are
the performances are great.
And yeah, it's got a very like Prometheus and Man kind of vibe and moments to it. But
Lighthouse boy.
Lighthouse boy. All right, what's next?
Dylan says, this is Dildar, Dylan Howard. I feel like we've met for the first time after all this time. I don't know if you saw it, but there's a video of Chris Gore analyzing your video on why the industry is failing. I don't always agree with him, but it's nice to see he was defending you, and he was even defending you from his co-hosts who were talking bad.
I still don't understand why anybody feels the need, why any YouTuber feels the need to talk about other YouTubers. I'll never understand that.
Well, and also it's just a piece about the industry failing. I mean,
yeah, but it goes to a bigger thing, right? Like we're talking about the movie industry and stuff like that. And on my channel, I make it a point that I never talk about other YouTubers, right? I make that a point. That's a hardcore rule of mine. Now, I'll talk about trends I see in blogs and podcasts and YouTube channels and things like that for sure. But I never talk because I've never understood. Number one, I am not important enough to be living rent-free in your head. I'm simply not important enough. Like, why there are some people who have been obsessed with me for so long is absolutely phenomenal to me because I am simply not big enough to worry about. I'll never understand that. Now, I get it. There's some people who get mad when I call out that, hey, there's a whole trend of people who do nothing but make hate videos. And I guess there will be some people who make the hate videos that don't like me saying that. Okay, fine. But I'm a fucking nobody living, literally streaming on YouTube from my garage. And so the fact that you elevate me so much and make me that important that I live in your brain and what I say is so important that you've got to talk about what my opinion was on something. I'm like, dude, that's great. If you think I'm that important and you think I'm that vital and you think I'm that influential, God bless, because I don't. But, it is what it is. All right, what's next?
We got John Loves the Acolyte. Says, hey, John, with Spider-Man 4 and the next two Avengers films, which Joe confirmed to be filming back-to-back, how involved do you think Tom will be in the next Avengers movie? And when is he going to have time for Chris Nolan's new movie, which releases in 26? I think we kind of addressed that.
Yeah. Again, for Tom Holland, he's going to spend 2 or 3 months at most working on one film. He literally can make 4 movies in a single year. I mean, if he wanted to work nonstop the entire year, he could do it. It's not a big deal. I do suspect we're going to see Tom in both the Avengers films. Like, they've already kind of leaked a little bit that the fact that these Avengers films are going to have massive casts. So I have a hard time believing that we won't. Like, again, I don't know for a fact, but I have a hard time believing we're not going to see Tom Holland in probably both of those movies. All right, what's next?
We got Bond, Sexless Bond. With these great early reviews coming out for Venom 3, what do you think that will do for the box office? Could it get close to $1 billion?
No.
Guys.
Let's not be ridiculous. No. The first one far exceeded expectations and made like over $800 million, which is crazy. The second one made closer to $5 million. Just get the billion conversation out of here. That's not part of the discussion at all. The question will be, can it get to $5 million? I think that's the big thing. Now, again, by making the movie as reasonably as they did, you're talking 300, 310, 320 just to break even. And I think that it's going to be able to break even and be profitable. I'm thinking this movie makes somewhere between 475 and 520. Now, again, I'm saying that. I'm throwing out that guess having not seen the movie yet. Right? I haven't seen the movie yet. So I could go see the movie and think it's terrible and go, okay, no, it's not going to make 300. I mean, I don't know. But from the perspective today, October 23rd, having not seen the movie yet, my guess, pure speculation, is going to be it makes between 475 and 525. That's my guess. All right, what's next?
All right, Chubbs GPT says, happy
69, dudes!
days before the new year, crew. Wanted to say thanks for all the filthy content this 24. Looking forward to joining y'all next year for even more movie, TV, streaming content. Again, didn't want to do it. There you go, 69.
Well,
the Stream Deck was like, I have some.
No, because I forgot you got to hit pause and then you got to replay
Then
it.
you got to redo it again. Yeah, the whole production thing. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, man. We appreciate it a lot.
I've never said anything dirty on this show, not even one time.
Of course.
Not even on this episode.
Not even when the cameras are off.
No.
All right, what's next?
Willoughby Sting says, can we get the team overrated back to its actual meaning, or the term overrated back to its actual meaning, or ban it? Because 90% of the time when it's used, it's not. I don't hold this in as high regard as you. Shoot, I hate when this thing moves the text on me. It's not. I don't hold this in as high regard as you, but I respect your opinion. Please respect mine. What people seem to think instead is if I call it overrated, I get to crap on something popular because I'm edgy and contrarian, or even worse, I call it overrated because I don't like this. If you do, you're dumb for doing so. Sorry for the rant. I just saw a publication.
Well, I mean, look, that's the thing about semantics. People can take words and subscribe meanings to them that they don't have. Look, when I personally call something overrated, and that term is one that's been hotly contested. Overrated doesn't necessarily mean something's not good. Look, here's one of my hot takes. Everybody knows I really like Avengers Endgame. I do think Avengers Endgame is overrated. I think now, all that simply means is when I think the term overrated simply means that you as an individual believe something isn't quite as good as what the general consensus towards it is. That's all. Like, I really like Avengers Endgame, but there are some people who think it's like the greatest film of all time. And it's super, like, I don't think it's nearly as good as Infinity War. But so I look at Endgame, I really enjoy it, I really like it, but I do think it's a bit overrated. It's not me giving a negative thing on it, but now I can also dislike a movie and think it's overrated. Like, people really love that movie. Oh, I thought it sucked. I think that movie's overrated. But overrated is by definition a subjective term, because it just means that from your personal perspective, that's what overrated is. It means from your individual personal perspective, you think X thing gets more praise than it actually warrants. That's all. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It is what it is. Like some people, if everybody thinks something is a 10 and you think it's an 8, an 8's still great, but you personally think that thing's a little bit overrated. That's all it is. All it is. But yeah, some people becomes a trigger term for some people, unfortunately. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says Christopher Nolan's doing a rom-com is not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Nolan is on record as saying one of his favorites is Talladega Nights and the Fast and Furious movies.
I agree that it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Like, Christopher Nolan's a true artist. I think he wants to push himself. I think he wants to try different things. I just think he's going to make his next movie, whatever his next movie is, whenever he's making it. I always just think his next movie is going to be the movie that he has the next idea for. I don't think Christopher Nolan's ever going to sit down. It's like, I really want to do a historical biopiece. Okay, well, let me start looking around for historical biopieces to do. Oh, look, no, I don't think that's how Oppenheimer came about.
He was given a book.
I think a friend of him just gave him a book, and he's like, I want to make this movie. And I think that's how he's going to make his movies. And I think if the next big idea that he either has or his wife brings to him as his production partner, or one of his other trusted people come to him with, and it just sets off a spark in his head. If it's a rom-com, he'll do it. If it's a superhero movie, he'll do it. Well, he might not do any more superhero movies. But I mean, yeah, I think that's it's going to happen. So I certainly think it's a possibility at some point. All right, what's next?
All right, Mike Halsey says, regards, Ronald D. Moore. Don't forget this time as a co-executive producer for the last 2 years of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the show that effectively created serialized sci-fi storytelling. Battlestar just built on what he did on DS9.
No, that's not. Just because both take place in space doesn't mean that one builds off the other. There was really no similarities. But yes, he did great work on Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is probably the most underrated of the Star Trek shows.
Underrated?
Underrated, not overrated.
Oh, yeah.
I think Deep Space Nine is probably the most underrated of the Star Trek shows.
It probably is. That was one where I kind of was not, especially at that age. I'm like, I want to explore, and everything just goes to them.
Oh.
They're stationary.
That's fair.
But then later on, I went back and was like, oh, this was actually really good
stuff. Yeah.
Because although Ronald D. Moore didn't introduce the idea of the prophets and all that kind of stuff in Deep Space Nine, he really started to lean into that. That is something that's similar to what he did in Battlestar Galactica, because he really loves to lean into the mythologies of his stories, and that was certainly there. All right, what's next?
Okay, Futureman19 says, having never seen Battlestar Galactica, but being very interested in watching it because I'm a huge Star Trek guy and love sci-fi in general, what are the main points of why you believe this show's greatest show of all time? Just curious.
Rich, incredible characters, constant twists and turns, massive, large-scale consequences, integration of great known mythologies while making them original. It is an action show. It is a criminal law procedural. It is a life. I mean, it's just everything that makes storytelling great. He incorporates into Battlestar Galactica. It's just phenomenal. Even if it wasn't a show that takes place on a giant battleship in space, it's one of the best shows ever made. Now you add the part that it takes place on a giant battleship in space, and it makes it the best show ever made. I mean, I just highly, highly recommend it. Go check it out. The incorporations of mythologies and the histories of humanity and all that kind of, it goes everything from like science and sci-fi and battles and religion and myths. And it's just, the way he incorporates it all into one incredible story is just absolutely phenomenal. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, the completely made-up adventures of Dick Turpin, in my opinion, has been the best of comedy show of the year. I'm on my second viewing. Brings back my uni years watching The Mighty Boosh on crappy TV student hall in student halls. Oh, on a crappy TV in student halls. What TV show did you binge on DVD in uni?
Aw.
I've never heard of the show that he's talking about.
It's so fun and stupid. I love it so much. It's Apple TV. It's
Okay.
Noel Fielding, who you might know as one of the hosts on British Bake Off.
Which
Love
I've
him.
never seen.
What? It's so wholesome.
I
oh
know.
my gosh. When I just need a palate cleanser for the everything that is living in this timeline, woohoo, that show is magical. And Mighty Boosh was so great. You would love Mighty Boosh, I think, actually. It's so weird. It's very Dadaist.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Dick Turpin's a really funny, ridiculous show. I can't
All right.
think what I binged
What's
on
next?
DVD.
That was the last of that. We got members here. King Daddy Goat says, "Hey, John and crew, I hope you're doing well. This is my checkup to see if John's watched Bad Monkey yet. If you have, what do you think? If you haven't, man, you got to get on that."
Yeah, everybody's got a million things I need to get on.
Come on.
But this is one of those shows that I really do want to watch. It's going to be tricky though, because What We Do in the Shadows is back. Oh my God, the first couple of the new episodes are so good. Shrinking is back. It's better than season 1, I think, so far.
It's been excellent.
It's so good. I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet, so we're gonna do that
okay.
today.
We watched that last night.
We're gonna watch Agatha tonight, and then after Agatha, we're gonna watch the new episode of Shrinking.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's tough, but yeah, listen, I've heard nothing but good things about Bad Monkey. It's got people in it I really adore, so I am going to get on it. It's just taking me some time to do so. All right, what's next?
Wrong one. Disney Freak says, "Hey crew, are you all caught up with the first 3 episodes of Shrinking season 2? I'm so happy the show is back. It felt like yesterday when we were raving about how good season 1 was."
Well, we literally just answered that. So I haven't watched episode 3 yet. Like I got my watch went off whenever there's a new episode dropping on Apple TV. I get a little notification on my watch saying new episode has dropped. But we were busy last night, so we're gonna watch it tonight after Agatha. And yes, the show is just I mean, it's, you know what it is. Here's what it is. And I watched that one on Netflix right now too called Nobody Wants This.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, it's so charming.
Here's why these two shows are both really good. Shrinking's better, but the sign of really, truly wonderful writing is something that I first really noticed on the network sitcom show Modern Family. It's the lines between the lines. So you have your main dialogue going on that's pushing the story forward, but it's when you can tell you're really watching people who really know how to write. It's the little lines between the lines. For example, there's an episode in Nobody Wants This where, what's Sarah Marshall's real name again?
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell. Where Kristen Bell and Hot Rabbi are planning to have a picnic, and she just makes some note. They're just talking about it, and she just makes some note that, "Oh, I brought my dress that does this. You have to only look at me from the west," because of the way that her, like, it's just,
I need to be backlit.
I need to be backlit. You can only look at me from the west. Like, it's just those, that line had nothing to do with what was the story being told in the scene, but it's the lines between the lines. Shrinking is so good at the lines between the lines. Like, it's like I find myself being so drawn in and so attached and so immersed in the story and the dialogue. But and there's funny stuff in the regular dialogue that makes me laugh. But I'm finding the things that have me almost falling off the couch are the lines between the lines. Particularly, if you want to have a great, great comedy show, you have to have top level B-list characters. Liz and her husband, the next door neighbors. I can't even remember. Derek, that's his name. I think these are the 2 funniest characters on television. Like, just the little line between the line when he walks in and Liz is talking to her friend and she, "What up, Derek?" He goes, "What up, G-Spot?" And then walk, like, it's just those little lines that kill me. If you guys aren't watching Shrinking, you gotta be watching Shrinking. It's amazing.
All
right, what's next?
Here's our last one. Gotta move it up. From Matt says, "Hello everyone. Has anyone seen the new HBO show, The Franchise, about superhero movie making? I was excited about the pitch of that series, but I'm unhappy to report that it's not good, just not funny, but maybe you like it."
Oh.
You know what? This is one of those shows where I was very interested in it. I thought it sounded really interesting, and then I heard nothing but negative things about it. And I went, you know what then? No, I'm not going to watch it.
I didn't realize it was out already.
Oh, it's been out for a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
October
it's-
6th.
I was excited
Oh.
too because Daniel Bro was in that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
I mean, the whole theme of it is very contextual right now, but it's just one of those things. It's like, and you know, that happens to me sometimes. There'll be something I'm excited about, and then I'll hear that it's terrible. And I go, you know what? I just love the people in that so much that I don't want to start negatively associating them with anything. So I avoid it, right? Anyway, so no, I haven't watched it, and I'm probably not going to watch it exactly for those reasons. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. And hey guys, just to let you know, if you guys, if any of you happen to be into sports, we do another YouTube channel where we talk all about sports. It's called Filthy Sports. We got our next episode coming up a little bit later today. Just go on YouTube, search for Filthy Sports. You'll find our channel. Subscribe to it right now and come on by and join us a little bit later. So, for now, for the people in the room with me, Jonathan Voico,
See you later today.
Chris Carr,
Bye, everybody.
my name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.